I decided to use some of my largest yarns, with both low contrasting yarns and high contrasting yarns combined into one video as the intro to the how-to projects. Thus, you can do the same process of braiding with thinner yarns while I work on this very thick yarn rope. The ropes I'm showing how to make were made with the remainders of my orange, pale pink, and black big twist plush yarns, or whatever that largest, fluffiest size was called, with the pink-black braid being shown in this part of the video. As you can see in this intro, I bought or was gifted the brand name store's versions of those in more colors recently to also experiment, but the ones I used for the video had been purchased from the smaller store before they closed because I'd already opened those packages previously for other experiments. In addition, you can see that I braided 3 pale pink yarns together, but because of the contrast and how hard it is to sew them together, I do plan to add 2 other braids to that one before I sew it into a basket or coaster or whatever I happen to decide to make it into. I did initially start off with a slightly thinner type of orange big twist yarn partly as a secondary proof as to how hard the intersections of the braid or braids can be to make out. As a note, I'm using my shoulder as a holding point because that is close to the manner of how I learned to braid as a child with my own hair, and it is better than using one's teeth to hold the yarn in place, which was admittedly how I had made my very first yarn ropes while I was still in the throes of recovering from a few compounding injuries a few years ago. I know not to do that now. It's why I came up with the shoulder or wrapping it around the chair back methods. To begin, you'll want to have enough of one end over your shoulder or chair back so that when you work on the rest of the rope, you'll have enough already braided to be able to secure in the underarm region and also have it go over the shoulder. Typically, that's about 3 to 4 feet down the front of your body, with the rest of the loose yarns secured by sitting on the other end. As this is your most basic braid pattern, this is using 3 sections of yarns or hair or grass or whatever you're braiding, and just continuing to alternate each section in an over, under, over, under, over, under, so on and so forth pattern until reaching the point you don't have enough of the yarn to keep a hold of. While I will show it during the process for every future braiding of whatever rope it is, videos, assume I'm doing the same process unless I say otherwise. I have done 4 or more yarns braided together, currently off camera to test out the process, and I'm still figuring that out. So during this portion, I was trying to make sure that the rope was kind of visible for the orange rope. However, I didn't realize that for my camera it would not pick up how hard it is to see the intersections between the 3 different yarns. So you'll see a little bit of time where I am trying to get the yarn into focus, and then I'll get back to giving you the explanation for the project after I've fiddled. If you have a habit of braiding in a different manner than I, and you're not sure how to start your project in a comfortable manner, I can try and help you troubleshoot it. Plus, I do plan to try out other starting the braid methods for those who may have problems with my 3 methods for a true everyone can do this type craft. I do often tend to do my braids pretty tight, and the larger yarns are harder to hold onto, so occasionally I do have to stretch my fingers out, and later on in the video change up what I'm working on if the strain gets too much, which is why I have several different videos already waiting to be organized and voiced over. However, for how long the yarn I used is, I will have to periodically untangle the loose part of the yarns, which you wouldn't necessarily have to do with hair or grass, though those come with their own issues. Typically, the downside of using the thicker yarns is more untangling sessions will likely have to occur and might be needed sooner, though that's good for a starter video because you'll have a lot of chances to view how to do that, and you'll also have chances to stretch your fingers if they cramp. Now, as I got towards the very end of the combined yarns, at the pre-started end, I braided until it was too difficult to braid with my fingers. Then I knotted it with a basic pretzel shaped knot called an overhand, or in other uses a half hitch knot, that I then did my best to tighten towards the loose yarn end. This may take some practice to do, so don't worry if your first few times don't go well. I've been doing knot types since my brothers were in Boy Scouts, plus tons of friendship bracelets in elementary school. So I've had at least 30 years of different knot practice. So don't fret about your first several dozen tries going poorly. Now, because I thought that the orange rope would be big enough to see well on my phone's camera, I also showed how to continue the rope after the front of the rope had been completed, and how long the yarns I was working with were. Once I'd watched the recording, I then decided to show something with greater contrast and even wider, larger yarns so it'd be more visible. Thus, this particular yarn rope made up of the pale pink and black yarns. In all, this will take me a few days in real time to finish up, partly because I wanted to take videos of most of the process, partly because I had to change up what I was doing due to finger joint issues, especially because of the thicker yarns being harder to hold. As a note, it is easier on your fingers to start learning the braid rope with cheap acrylic but not puffy fluffy yarns. And I will go through several whys in a different video. In addition, I wanted to have contrasting yarns to make it easier to show how I did my best to keep the yarns from knotting up as I braided them, which is especially crucial for making longer braids or for the first untangling after you've moved your project from one area to another, or restarting your braiding process after putting it aside for a while. This can be especially crucial for making longer braids, or for the first untangling after you've moved the project from one area to another, or restarting the braiding after putting it aside for a while. Now, I'm going to speed up the second day I worked on the braid and part of the third day that I worked on the braid as well. Start of the third recorded day. I did some of the braiding off screen so that I could come back on the third day of filming to show how to finish up the now almost complete rope on camera. And just so y'all understand, the unsped version of this video was over 2 hours long and didn't show the full process of this particular rope, though it turned out to be one of the longest yarns I've braided so far. Most of the time while making my pre-measured sections, I measure out about 5 full arm lengths, which is a guesstimating of about 5 yards for my baskets, less for coasters, and I tend to use the leftovers for ornaments. This particular one started out at over 10 yards of yarn. Alright, we're getting towards the end of the rope, so I'll bring the camera speed back to normal. just like it was at the starting of the video for the orange yarns, ending up braiding process, I am going to do my best to braid the yarns until I can't hold on to them anymore. Then I'll finish off the braid in the same knots type as at the beginning of the rope, wherein you do an overhand knot to keep the yarn rope from untangling. Don't ever do this to hair. It will tangle or become an almost unknottable mess. Next week, I will show some of my very first baskets that I've made, some of the other ropes and baskets that I had learning moments with, plus similar topics as I work on filming this particular rope being sewn into the most basic round basket, since I filmed a number of things in an out of order process. Yay for having a backlog of various videos and photos to work from. As a treat, here is how long the fully stretch out rope is, courtesy of letting my nephews play with the finished rope instead of redoing the voice tracks after I found out that they were all botched the day that I went to post this. And a few types of finished baskets made with yarn ropes to close out the video. Please leave a like and subscribe. Also, please try to do at least one nice thing for someone or some people you know this week. Cheers to y'all, and have a great week.